Hi there, my name is Christine. I'm a demonstrator with Stampin' Up! And it's raining here today, and I'm just staying dry and playing with markers and the New Horizons suite and the new paper pumpkin kit, which is called Beyond the Horizon. Kind of ties in with the New Horizons suite, which I love. And I've been playing with my new Stampin Blends, which are amazing. These are kind of skin tone ones. They're new, and they will be in the new catalog as well. Right now you can purchase them as a collection, as well as individually in packs of 2. So yeah, let's get started. I'm so excited. There's so much I want to show you. I'm like, having trouble focusing. First things first, this is the New Horizons paper. At least I think that's what it's called. I should probably check that. It is called the New Horizons Designer Series paper. So you get 48 sheets, and they are all watercolored. They're just stunning. And they're kind of, you know, not... what do you call them? Abstract, kind of. So they're just, oh, they're so beautiful. And the other side as well is a little bit more abstract, I find, than the front side for the most part. There's this pretty pale papaya one here and this gorgeous polished pink. What's also really fun with these is that they coordinate with so many colors. So then there's the new On the Horizon stamp set, which is a ton of fun as well. It has this fun wood plank background stamp, some grass, really nice sentiments that I'm hoping I'm holding in an angle you can see. So I'm quite fond of this. We're also going to use the In the Moment stamp set so that we can put some of these skin tones to work. It's a really pretty stamp set. I love the line work in it, and it also has really nice sentiments, kind of be kind to yourself and I'm thinking of you kind of stuff. So really nice. I am going to mix and match sentiments and stamps. So let's, oh, and I should point out the New Horizons also has, you can buy the stamp set and the bundle, and the dies, sorry, as a bundle and save 10%. So the dies are really fun too. So it's all, oh, this gate is just gorgeous. So yeah, been having a ton of fun with all of this stuff, and there's just so much I want to show you. I'm like, trying to focus. Okay, so what we have here is a small piece of just basic white. It is 2 3/4 by 4. Then I've got Evening Evergreen, which is 1/8 of an inch bigger than this on both sides. Then we've got one sheet from the New Horizons Designer Series paper, and we've got thick white. So this is an 11 by 8.5 sheet that I've cut in half, and then we're going to score it. So I want to do... what do they call that? The front fold card? Is that what it's called? Fold over? I forget now. Sorry about that. I will look that up. So we're scoring it at 4 1/4. So same as you would for a regular card. But then I'm going to score it again at 2 1/8, which is the halfway mark. So that'll be the front. Oh, I am going to need, sorry, I'll just do all my cutting and then we'll put the cutting board away. So, this is going to be obviously our background piece. Let's see, we need to take off 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to keep my sky. I'm going to take it away from the bottom. Actually, I don't need a full 3/4. What I need is 3/4 plus 1/8. Which becomes 7/8. Is that right? Yeah. Except no, I'm taking more off if I do that. Sorry. The halfway mark is here. I'm going to do it from this side just so it's easier for me to calculate. So 7/8. There we go. And then I'm going to cut it in panels of 2 inches. So we're going to have 3 2-inch panels. Still, when I'm working with pretty paper, I have so much trouble cutting it. It's like, oh, so pretty. But it's okay. It's you got to cut it to use it, right? So I'm working on that. I think I've mentioned before, I am a paper hoarder, and I'm working really hard to overcome that. All right, so first things first, we're gonna stamp. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm working on a dirty mat. I did a video for my Facebook page on the new Beyond the Horizons paper pumpkin kit, and it comes with this amazing bonus stamp set. And I was using that and testing out my stamps, because whenever I get a new stamp set, I like to stamp the image first on scrap. That's not the stamp I want. And then clean it off, ink it again, and stamp again. And that's just makes sure that if there's any residue on your stamp from the production process, that it comes off. So that is a little tip for you. So I'm just using the Memento Black. Now this stamp does fit on the regular block D, but I happen to have E out, and it fits even better on E. So I'm just making sure that that is nice and dark with my black ink, because this is going to be my outline that we're going to be coloring. And I'm going to put her up here. There we go. There is a hair or lint or something hanging off the bottom of my stamp, and I got a little bit on here, but that's okay. We'll be fine. I'll cover it up somehow. I may be cutting this piece down a bit now that I'm seeing the image stamped. I think it might be a little bit too big, but we'll get to it. Let's do some coloring and then we'll worry about that. So the first thing I did before starting my project was decide which paper I was going to use. And the reason I did that is I wanted to see what colors I was going to pull into my image. So beyond the skin tone. So actually, let's start with our skin tones. So the first thing I did when I got these markers is I've grouped them. So this is the light is 900, and I grouped them, but I should have started at 1,000 and worked down, and I didn't do that. So they're a little bit disjointed, but so we've got light, which is 1,000 and 900. So you can see the difference in tones here. Then we've got the medium light, which is 800 and 700. Again, kind of going deeper in the skin tones. Medium has 500 and 600. And there's two more packs of 2. So there's 4 more shades that go into the darker brown skin tones that I don't actually have, but you can keep going with this, and you can also combine like 600 plus 800 to create a different skin tone, depending if you have someone specific in mind that has a specific skin tone or suntans or whatever. And the other thing I got to thinking once I'd done that is the markers I already had. So I did a sample with Petal Pink, which is kind of what we used to use for, you know, basic Caucasian skin tone up until they created these new ones. So it kind of plays in that light area and does work. And then the Pale Papaya is a little bit, has the more yellow, almost a little bit orange undertones, but it kind of works a little bit somewhere between the lights and the medium lights to combine different. So those could also be used to create lighter skin tones. So that's that. So this, I find this stripe here helps me to figure out what markers I want to use to color my image. And I've also always got my my lifter. This is my Stampin Blends lifter, and it will lift your color if you make a little oops. So I always have it handy when I'm doing my blends. So I'm gonna start. I'm going to use 900 as my base shade. So this is my light shade. And I'm going to add some depth to it in a moment. I'm just going to color all of the skin. And her shirt is just a little bit lifted in the back there. Then I'm going to take my 800 and my 700. So the light's coming in from the window, so I'm going to assume that she's kind of top lit a bit. And you can see the difference in my, you can see my lines. That's okay. So now I'm going in with my 800 and I'm going to blend this up. Oops, I went on her shirt by mistake. So, and as the colors dry, they blend together really nicely. So I may have to color her shirt on this one. So that's my color lifter. I took off what kind of went over. Now I used Memento Black as my outline black here. So the one thing to be cautious of is try not to get it too wet when you're coloring, because if you do, it will end up running a bit. Another tip, and I didn't need to use it here, but the Stampin' Right black marker is a really nice one to have on hand. If you end up with, you know, a light break or whatnot in your ink, you can just go in and color it in. So this is kind of one of my fixers, but my image came out really crisp, so I don't need to go over anything right now. Let's move on to her hair. I am going to use dark crumb cake. You wouldn't want to use black only because you would end up losing the details of the black ink. So I don't recommend you go with black. You can use the yellows to do some kind of fun blondes. I'm also using my Cinnamon Cider Blends to give her a little bit of red, just a bit of depth. So she's got some red highlights kind of happening there. And I could have used, that's the light, so if I went with the dark, they'd be darker red as well. So kind of fun that you can just play with your blends to create different colors. Incidentally, the Cinnamon Cider is a retiring color, so after May 3rd, it will not be available. And in fact, if it sells out earlier than that, it might disappear sooner as well. So I'm going to put her in jeans. I don't want to go too dark with my jeans, so I'm going to use Balmy Blue, dark and light. Again, I'm going to just color the jeans in the light blue. So I'm doing a quick pass here. And then I'm going to go in and do the detail work. It doesn't have to be like covering every surface perfectly. So I'm going to go back in anyway. Now we're going to go over the darker areas. She's got some creases here. The back of her leg won't be getting any light. And the back of this leg either. Well, it'll be getting some light, but not as much, right? Okay. And then I'm just going to smooth this out. I'm actually going to use the finer tip on my marker. And just blend that together a bit. Just so you don't have like a distinctive line. And again, I'm trying to make sure I don't get this too wet because I don't want to wreck the black lines. We'll let that dry and see what it looks like. I want to bring in kind of an accent color that's going to work with what's going on over here. I think I'm going to bring in the Fresh Freesia light and dark. So let's start with that pillow and her hair clip. There we go. So for this one, I am doing the opposite of what I did with the jeans, and I'm going to color, do the darks first and go over with the lights. It does a very similar result. It's just, I just try to blend the two so you don't see a distinct line between the dark and light shade. You can also bring in different markers, different shades to create custom shades. And for the mug, I'm going to go back to what I did previously. I've got the light. Just going to add a bit of dark here. And there we go. Another big color in here is, let's see, we've got the Evening Evergreen, which we're going to use here, and I don't want to pull it in because it's going to be way too dark. We've got the Misty Moonlight happening in various shades down here, so I'm going to do that for her bench. And I will use the Soft Succulent, which is this shade over here, to do the window panes. I think this is Soft Succulent. It is. Yay, light and dark. Okay, so let's do the window first. Oops. So I like to use the brush tip. It makes me feel like I'm painting. So you can see that this is still, it's the lighter of the two shades, but it's still fairly dark. And seeing as how there'd be light coming in from the window, I feel that it's good to have that darker shade. So the lines are a little bit broken in places, and that's totally fine. That's just the way they've kind of created their image. So as a result, you don't have to touch every single line with your color either. And I'm just bringing in the Misty Moonlight as her bench. It's quite a dark blue, so I don't want it to blend too much with the black. There we go. And I'll bring in the dark Soft Succulent to do that last line down here, just to add a bit of color. There we go. So the little flub I had on her shirt doesn't show, so I'm just going to leave her shirt white. And we need a sentiment, so I'm going to use the Evening Evergreen as my, to do the sentiment. I just have to choose one. I think I'm going to use the Relax and Enjoy Your Day. And I'm just going to stamp that directly onto here. There we go. I was thinking that I might want to cut some of that down, but I think now that I've got it stamped, I quite like the white space at the top and the bottom, so I will leave well enough alone. Now let's move all of these markers aside, excuse the noise, and we'll assemble our card. So this piece is going to go on here. like so. I'm sorry, I'm just having a thought. Should I add some ribbon or some dimensionals? And I think I should. So I'm just going to use the end of my linen thread. The linen thread is wrapped around a spool, so it's a bit curly. So I'm just using my bone folder to uncurl it a bit. It's basically just the reverse of curling your Christmas ribbon, right? Or that's better. Just want to add a little bit of detail to this because it's got that white space. It's bugging me. So I'm just going to make my bow and I'll shift it over after. Oops. Okay, so do you know the trick on what to do if your bow is too loose? I will show you because that's happened here and I don't feel like tying it again. All right, so the ribbon is way too loose here. But there's an easy way to fix that. I'm actually going to use dimensionals to put this onto the evening evergreen. So I'm just going to squeeze this a bit so that the front is tight. There we go. So the slack ends up now being at the back, and this is nice and tight across. I love dimensionals. They just add a little pop to things. Okay, so I've got a very small, like 1/16 of an inch border the whole way around this. So I'm just lining it up on the bottom and placing it down. There we go. I think I'm totally going to add bling to this too, just because I love bling. Okay, so let's do the front of our card. So I'm folding my card in half, same way you normally would. And I'm going to use my bone folder to crisp that up. They call this burnishing your fold. So now I want to flip this other half back. And there we go. I've got a little bit of paper sticking up there from my cutting, so fix that. Okay, so now I'm just going to use regular glue to put this down. Now I want to keep my panels in order, so one of them is going to go here. This is the first one, and then the other one's going to go on the inside. So this is the part where I use glue and try to keep it on the paper. So that's panel number 1. And there's going to be a very thin white border around all of this as well. I'm trying to keep the distance the same. Then we're going to do this one. You don't need a lot of glue, just enough that it's going to stay stuck down. So the reason I did the one on the fold first is, well, it wouldn't really matter, but I want to line up so that I've got the same distance top and bottom as I do there. So that works nicely. Now let's do this one. I like this fold. It's simple, but it's a little bit different. And you're only using one sheet of this beautiful 6x6 paper. So the reason I like to use the liquid glue when I'm doing this sort of thing is you have just a little bit of leeway before it dries. So if you need to move things around, it's easier to do. There we go. And then I'm going to glue that to the Evening Evergreen to the folded over piece. So I'm laying it on top just so that I can visualize where I need to stop with the glue. So I'm not going to go all the way to the half mark. I'm going to kind of just do 1/3. More generous than I meant to be there, so I'll just spread the love. And that will do nicely. And I find with this paper, it kind of is a reverse image of what this lovely lady is looking out at from her window. At least that's the impression it gives me. I wouldn't mind looking out at that beautiful view. All right, and I said I wanted to bling this up just a little bit, so let's do that. Let's use the Iridescent Basic Jewels. These are new in the spring catalog. They are also included in the in that paper pumpkin kit, which is fun. So remember I told you there was like one black splotch? Well, now there isn't because I've put a jewel on top. I'll put one up here. So these have 3 sizes to them. I don't know if you can really see that. Where to put the last one? Right down here. So that is my blending card. And we've got the dimensionals under this panel, so it gives it some dimension. Now, I want to show you a couple more that I made using similar techniques. So this one is just glued straight to the card, and it's actually using some leftover bits that I had of this gorgeous New Horizons paper. This is the Pale Papaya ribbon. It's in the annual catalog. And these jewels are the Elegant Faceted Gems. And this Pale Papaya circle over here is the In Color Shimmer Vellum, which I just love. It comes in all 5 of the 2021-2023 in colors. And I gave our gal over here a little bit more of a tan as she's in the sun, and a beautiful image. I want to be in the sun too. And I also made this one. I used, so I used the circle dies for this one, and I used the layering stitch rectangle dies, quite a few of them, to make this one. So this is very similar to our first one, but just with added detailing. So for this one, I just want to show you actually, if you've got these or if you've been thinking of getting these, the rectangle dies are so much fun. I used these 2 and I centered them together and put them on my paper, and then I just put a sticky note on the back so that they wouldn't move, and that's how I was able to create this frame. So fun little trick there. So I hope you like these. I hope you're inspired to pull out your coloring because it is so relaxing and fun, especially on a rainy day. And have a wonderful day. Thanks so much for watching.